We are particularly honored that we are hosting and facilitating, among other issues, discussions and partnerships in one of the critical sectors that's expected to drive Ghana's industrialization agenda, that's the pharmaceutical industry. And for potential investors in all areas, not only the pharmaceutical industry, and fund managers who are confronted with Brexit, we wish to assure you that Ghana has a stable economy. Obviously, you've heard that Ghana is one of it's actually the safest country security-wise in West Africa. You've heard that Ghana is the 4th safest country in Africa as far as security is concerned. And we provide a stable environment, as I said earlier. We have high returns on your investment and a growing middle class.
As compared to some other African countries, you say the pharmaceutical industry is not too large. However, we see that that's an area that can enable us export into Africa. You know, we are now having a continental free trade agreement, and even though 2 major countries in Africa have not signed up to it, I'm confident that in the next year or 2 they will come. So if you invest in Ghana with that environment, you have access to the African market, which is a burgeoning market. We have the most youthful population and we have an increasing middle class. So in whatever area you invest in, you can be sure that you reap competitive dividend. I'm told that, you know, investment returns in Ghana are among the highest in the whole world. So we need to work together. So I'm urging you, don't be hesitant. No, we are touted as probably the fastest growing economy in the world. The IMF says this year we may be getting to about 8.8 or 8.7, and that's the fastest growing economy in the world. So Ghana is open for business. We are interested now more and more in partnerships. We believe that with the transfer of technological and financial strength, we can increase the pace of development in our country.
We are here as manufacturers, as industry, as businessmen, be in all these sectors. I am a pharmacist, and I'm an industrialist, and I represent the whole industry in Ghana. The opportunities are there for you. Whatever collaboration we want to do with us, we are happy to do that. And beyond that, whatever project that we start, we take it to His Excellency and his team. That this is the team coming from UK, collaborating with Kofi Kron Pharmacy, with Unicorn Pharmacy, with Dan Adams, with Ernest, and all these companies to help make Ghana the pharmaceutical hub of Africa. Why am I saying that? Because drugs now, as we speak, 70% are still imported from particularly India. And you don't know the quality of the products because they will bring the original to Food and Drug Board Authority to get license. What comes in to be marketed and sold or distributed, you don't know the quality. Our mothers and our relatives are in danger. And we feel that if we are making the drug for our own people, with our own color, everywhere in Africa, talking about 1.3 billion people of Africa, so much we can do. All we are looking for is joining hands with us, for us to put on the deck and see the future. And whatever investment you make in any company in Ghana, be it me, you will never lose it. We are about to grow and we will expand. Ladies and gentlemen, so much to say, but Ghana, as I said, for AGI and the members of Manufacturers Association of Ghana is ready to welcome you to Ghana, and anything that you want from us through His Excellency, we will be glad to provide that information. Any company that you want information from about, you'll be glad to supply them. The sky is the limit, and we believe that Ghana is ready to become an industrial hub for the entire Africa.
If you are looking at the Africa region and Ghana as your gateway, and as we continue to see, it's not for a short term, but for the medium to long term. Secondly, the High Commissioner also said this, that when you are thinking about doing business in Ghana, you are not just looking at Ghana in the West Africa sub-region. It takes almost 15 days to do sea shipment to Ghana or to Europe. You know, if you want to fly to Ghana from Europe, most of the European countries, 6 to 7 hours, you are in Ghana. We pride ourselves at the center of the world. So if you are doing business in the world and you are not doing business in the center of the world, then there's something missing. So please come to the center of the world where you can now migrate and go to the other places. There are so many things that are going on, but that is why we are positioned to help you, to at least sift and then make sure that we distill the good from the chaff so that you know where you are going. So all in all, this is what the Ghana High Commission is doing, and we believe with all this support, it will make it easier for you to take a decision to do business in Ghana.
We are doing more to link our UK companies to our Ghanaian companies so that they can foster more relationship and do business together. As His Excellency indicated early on, IMF has projected Ghana to have the fastest growing GDP in the world this year at 8.8%. We are also looking at post-Brexit. We are working hard to consolidate our relationship. Businesses will do business. As a government, our role is to facilitate, is to support, is to provide insight and expert advisory to make sure that you are dealing with the right contacts, you are chasing the right opportunities, and you are using the right approach in terms of market entry and establishment. We are happy to support this mission by organizing in partnership with AGI and the Ghana High Commission here to make this mission a success. We look forward to more business wins. Ghana is open for business. Let's tap into that opportunity. The time is now.
We ensure that there's networking opportunities for our members. Currently our members are just under 100, about 98. And we also do advocacy on behalf of our members. So if a member company, for example, has a challenge and needs us to engage with government or regulatory agencies on their behalf, we take that up and we do that for them. We also do advocacy in the sense of promoting trade. So as I'm standing here today, I'm doing some sort of advocacy work promoting our association. And then we undertake trade services as well. So market entry services, like I said, where DIT is unable to cover, we will take that up. We organize trade missions as well to the UK and then also into Ghana. Basically, when companies, either UK companies or Ghanaian companies that are members have issues in Ghana, we're able to take it up to the highest possible level.
Ghana remains a priority for CDC, and to demonstrate that, we have invested to date, I think, about $140 million. Ghana is, I believe, number 8 country where we've invested. We've recently invested in a project called the Amandi Power Project. We are looking at another project called the Early Power Project. We've invested in Miro Forestry, which is based in the northern part of Ghana. We've also invested in Ghana funds that further invest in smaller companies. We provide basically 3 types of capital. We do direct equity investment, whereby as CDC we provide risk equity capital. We stay in the business as partners. We typically stay for about 8 to 12 years, but as a DFI, should the business not be ready for us to exit in 12 years, we will not just dump the business and leave. You know, I know of one investment, the Chilanga Cement in Zambia, where we stayed for 58 years. So, anything is possible. And then we also provide debt capital. In fact, I'm going to park this for now because there's quite a lot that we do within debt. This, the third type of capital that we place funds with private equity firms, and they then in turn invest in the businesses. We do trade financing, so this is more like short-term debt. But then again, because we don't have commercial banks, we don't have the feet and the hands on the ground, we then tend to work with the local commercial banks where we will provide, say, maybe $50 or $100 million to the local commercial bank, and then we then agree that this funding will be used to fund players in the value chain for short-term cash crunch challenges. And in this regard, we're trying to look at the Ghana market. There is this requirement from the CDC side that we look at opportunities that are $30 million and above. We are also looking internally to see how do we find a way to look at smaller opportunities, and this is where the fund investments model is coming in. So we place $50 million with Injaro or Synergy Capital. We then rely on them in the market to then go and find the $5 million, the $15 million kind of opportunities. Another initiative that we are doing also is that internally we're trying to establish our own CDC companies. So for example, we've got a company called Globalec, whereby we've invested, I think, $750 million. And what Globalec will then do, Globalec is in the market, including Ghana, looking for those $20 million, $50 million power projects, for example. We've recently established another company called Gridworks, which is going to be a transmission and distribution company. We will put in about $200 million with Gridworks. Gridworks will then be in the countries looking for those ECG types of opportunities to deploy a $50 million there or a $30 million there. The last one, which has not been approved, but we are seriously pushing it internally as the team, we are also saying that we would like to have a agri-processing platform company, whereby CDC will invest maybe $100 million. And then this agri-processing CDC-owned company will then go into the market and find the $5-10 million agri-processing opportunities. Because we know that it's difficult to find an agri-processing opportunity of $50 million in the continent. So those are some of the initiatives that we're trying to implement internally in order to meet the challenging requirements that we face in our market.
There's a lot of information when I work with Ghanaian companies I do come across. There is not much package of their financial statements, and that's a very huge impediment getting to finances. There are some banks who are willing to go into the Ghana market, but when you give them shoddy statements and all those things, it makes it very difficult at the long run. So before you come into or looking for any finance, you need to make sure you prepare very well before you start seeking for those things.
One of the things that we find when we're looking for finance for companies is because of the size of the transaction, we advocate for companies to come together as a consortium, so that if you are 15 million, 5 million, 10 million, 6 million, we ask you to come together, talk among yourselves from Ghana, and then present a comprehensive business plan to people like us, or to him, or to her. That way, if you don't need to go to Synergy Capital or Injaro to be able to inject capital so that they go seeking small projects. You come as a consortium, and then we deal with you at that level as a consortium, so that once we are able to fund the project or whatever it is, then you will kind of do the calculations amongst yourself. But at a headline level, you are a big company, a consortium whom we're dealing with. That is how you seek finance.
The mergers need to happen. We need to build strong institutions which are able to tap into the next door countries and start to say, look, we are a big $250, $500 million company or EBITDA company, and we also have a bit of diversity in where we sell our products, i.e. across the whole of West Africa. So I think an open question to everyone who is an industry player now is how many people are willing to make that big concession to, as Madam Butele just say, have one CEO in the room instead of two, and take a back seat and so on.
Even our local bank, the difficulty we are having, apart from the high interest rate, is that they do not want to finance anything beyond 5 years. So we want financial institutions that are interested in long term, because even to build a plant is going to take you 2 years. To build a hospital, minimum 18 months. But this is, I mean, if you are going to make medicine in 2 years to build it and you're going to make the medicine for the rest, it's a long-term project. So Citibank is not willing to help us. But is Citibank willing to take CDC money and then say, okay, for this money, is for long-term projects, help us for long-term projects, and work with us. Our Ghanaian companies will take concessionary money, but when it comes to our market, then they will not give us low interest rate, but still want us to pay the high interest rate, which is a difficulty to us.
If we know your transactional advisors that you have worked with over the years, it makes things easier for us to deal with them, to package ourselves to be acceptable to your people. So if you can give us some of your transactional advices, not one or two, you can give us about 4 or 5 for us to go into. I think that would be a better way to go.
We have a pool of transaction advisors who have worked with them over the years, some are even former staff of their company. So you don't have a problem. That's why we organized this meeting.
Generally, I think that we're moving ahead, and there's new companies act that has been passed, which obviously make a difference, and the whole space of registering companies, protection, the court system, all that is improving.
Ghanaian businessmen, especially the private sector, run away from contracting local loans because of high cost of capital. But I didn't hear anything like that from your presentation. If you could enlighten us on it.
What we're trying to do is just, we call ourselves money and brains. So what we're trying to do is, we know what you want.
Yes.
And we know what you need, and we're trying to...
You put a package together.
Yeah, because there's a knowledge gap.
The problem I see in Ghana being they're having a company there, we are set up, same in Nigeria. There are so many people we have to talk to that make decisions. It is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm sitting there, we're there, oh my God, we're there, and I get a phone, Thomas, we need another this, we need another that. I've asked for processes, and I totally agree there. To some extent, I mean, obviously there are processes, but I can't get hold of them. So I'm trying to figure out, if I go there, so we're a year late launching a product that is life-saving. It is, I mean, we are talking about something incredible. This should be on the market 6 months ago.
Yeah.
However, and that's where maybe I can add, the FDA, the approval was so quick because they saw what we had. But I have the FDA approval and I can't launch the product. So I think in one way you're coming towards us as companies and investors, but actually the red tape, or whatever we want to call it, is so complicated and it's run by individuals, and that's the problem. You've got to get the individuals together.
Are we talking about are you looking for the cost of funding for debt, or is this the return that we require on the equity investment? How long do you want us to stay there? Because if you want us to stay in as an equity investor for 2 years, the returns might be higher, but you want us to grow things together and take our time, develop strategies, also help you with issues like your environment and safety, and help to strengthen your governance processes, because those are some of the things that, as the CDC, yes, we place money, but the biggest thing that the UK government has told us is the impact, is help these businesses to become institutions, in future, and how do we help them to strengthen the governance systems that they have?
It's good that our Excellency has been a cabinet minister, has been a member of parliament for several years, and is aware of some of the problems that we face, and that we should find ways and means. That's why we are doing due diligence. I think we can add maybe promptness to some of these actions. The complexities in the government agencies is too much. It needs to be addressed.
What we are trying to do is to infuse the private sector orientation into the public service. For us to know that, look, the public service is there to facilitate the private sector. It's difficult. It's difficult, but we are aware of it. I have always complained about how we take decisions, but you should also bear in mind that in terms of the politics, if you don't go through the processes, you may find that you get to a stage and then you will be called to account, and for failing to go through a process, you may find yourself on the wrong side of the law. So it's made us a little bit timorous. But I agree with you, and we are making the effort.
Just about last week, I had a project come and fall on our desk. It's a $2 billion project in Ghana. It's gone through the Ministry of Works and Housing. The agreements are signed. In fact, the contractor who signed the agreement couldn't deliver it since October last year. It's gone around in circles. I'm sorry to use the word, it's a prostitute deal, we call it. A prostitute deal is it's gone around and everybody in Ghana has a copy of it and it's fallen on our desk. Why? Because nobody can execute it. Because the parameters are not there and there's all those red tapes. Everybody else has got something within it. And so those deals never come to fruition because there's too many players involved in it. If we can get our processes sorted properly, then the funding will come. I think that's where it is.
CDC, you have funds, but you can't expose of your funds unless it's a certain amount of figure. As developers, we don't need that much. We don't need 2 to 3 to 5 million pounds or USD to build applications. So now it goes back to the government. If I built an application and I came to the government to team up with you, would you team up with the developers to work with CDC for the national benefit, or is it something that the government doesn't necessarily work with?
Government doesn't really work that way. You know, we've got a procurement law, and for everything you procure, works, services, it must go through a certain process. Well, you talk about an application. Of course, that may lend itself to sole sourcing. But to justify even the sole sourcing, then you must demonstrate that there is no other person in the world who is capable of doing that, or that application tried, tested, and proven. So really going through a whole process to get the same application to use will be more expensive. And it's some of these processes, you say everybody wants a piece of the pie. In fact, the procurement process is supposed to enable us get value for money. Sometimes you may have an application, you think that it's excellent, and government must be able to do that, but it may not depend on one person. So let's try and also appreciate the processes that government has to go through.
I just sponsored a research on the fintech sector in Ghana, my department, and it's ready. So let's engage. We know the players, both in government and the private sector, so let's engage.
It's not about the suits, it's not about how we present ourselves, it's about their language. And can she help us to learn her language or to speak her language so that businessmen or businesswomen will understand her language so that we can come for her money?
It's not going to be possible for you to be the jack of all trades. You are a business person. You are a visionary. You know how to build businesses, run them profitably. But the language of money, the business of money, is yet another business that someone else knows how to do very well.
Some things are very insular in Ghana, and you're trying to solve that problem. And out of respect, everything we've come to you with, you've always been extremely helpful, and you've always done the things we've asked and helped every way possible. So I did this. Obviously, I'm just talking about as a general going into Ghana and meeting amazing people. I must say, the Ghanaians are the personalities and the time we've had. We've always been welcomed, and I think that is an amazing starting point.